Hey, assalamu alaikum everyone. So welcome back to the Bitcoin update today. And Bitcoin, it's a little bit tricky, really tricky trade with Bitcoin nowadays. And one more thing is that we do have a few more days to close the entry for May private. Just scroll down, click on Discord, click on announcement, message me to be the part of the private for May. Now, the thing is, when I look at Bitcoin, and again, it's always just a debate. It's always just ideas throughout the world. Now, there are different views. There's so many different views. You can even say that this is just nothing more than support, a breakup, and retesting it this was resistance, and now it's being back tested as support right now, which is actually pretty fine to me. And from here, you should be moving to the upside. That also can be another consideration. Now, the problem is that I told you about WOF distribution, and it's true there is a WOF distribution. Everything about WOF is here, okay? This, I've given you proof, right? So if, for example, Bitcoin doesn't really go down to maybe $52,000, $53,000, and which starts to move up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin does that, to be honest with you. If Bitcoin ever starts to push up from here, I would never be surprised, because when you are in an uptrend, the bearish pattern can be invalidated just like that, all right? And when you are in a downtrend, it's just like when you go down, you have inverted and shoulders and they get invalidated and the prices still continue to go to the downside. So there's this uptrend manipulation, which is opposite to a downtrend manipulation. So if Bitcoin ends up coming up here, so that means, number one, I didn't say this in the last video, if Bitcoin makes it up to maybe $71,600, then we're going to have a total different kind of a pattern, or perhaps if it does come up to $73,000, or let's just even say cross 73, 74,000 one more time, this Wyckoff gets destroyed completely, and we perhaps may continue to go to the upside. But there are some few reasons you're going to go down, okay, which are not still invalidated. And that is this bearish divergence you have and the Wyckoff distribution on the daily that you have. These are two things that I'm going to take very seriously at the moment. And yes, you are still at the LPSY level, and you're looking for another LPSY and maybe start to come down to the SOW and start reaccumulation, which is known as WOF Accumulation. Just like this is WOF Distribution, you're going to come down and start WOF Accumulation, and then from there, you pump from the accumulation phase. That means that if you do come down here like this, then May, the whole month of May, can actually be really boring and stuff like that. So this is the daily. You see, the daily looks like that. But when I see the weekly is still so damn good, okay? The weekly does have the 10 EMA as your support right now. So you're still crossing up. Last time you held the 10 as your support, you really pumped high, and then you came down. And if you're going to backtest everything as support one more time, you may see Bitcoin start to climb all of a sudden. So another thing is that altcoins are also very down, and they're showing bullish divergence on the daily. Luna Classic, for example, we have Phil, for example, FIL, right? Filecoin. So many of these coins are already like 50, 60, 70% down. And if Bitcoin wants to drop even more down, I don't know what's going to happen to the alt business right now. So it's a very tricky trade. But one thing I am coming up to a conclusion is that we will have maybe our decision no more later than, 6th of June or 3rd of June. So anytime in May, we will get to know what happens. But the monthly is also another issue. Look at what the monthly candle looks like, right? That's the first red candle. It's almost printing in a bearish engulfing candle. So the monthly can be a little bit of a problem. But again, it's just like how I said before. We had one doji right over here, and it actually got invalidated, right? So in an uptrend, there could be uptrend manipulation where you're just making bearish engulfing, and then you still continue to push to the upside. It perhaps even happened back right over here when you had evening star, and you still invalidated that evening star to continue to go to the upside. So anything can happen, man. This is really not something, honestly, that can be said with a certain confidence if you're going to pump or not. Even look at my Discord. When I asked that, are you expecting an uptrend to continue or a correction first? 25 people think, yes, we're not going to correct. We're just going to continue to go up from here. And 31 people think that, yes, we're going to have a correction to the downside. So even traders themselves are confused. You can see it's almost like a 50-50 power, but correction, the side of the correction is getting a little bit of the upper hand right now. And still, this is also a good number to say that an uptrend may actually continue. So if a correction happens, these guys are going to say, hey, we said a correction is going to happen. If an uptrend goes up, these guys are going to say, yeah, I told you an uptrend is going to continue. So everyone is going to be right in that case. So the thing is, trade accordingly, have a strategy, try to think what you can do going down. Perhaps the best idea that I can give you is this really works in an uptrend is a 50-50, right? Maybe buying now a little bit, that means 50%, right? So not Bitcoin, but any altcoin that you think is really down right now, 70% down, 80% down, and you think it's really discounted, but you think Bitcoin is still going to drop, but you're not sure if Bitcoin is not going to drop. So maybe just buy a little bit, DCA, dollar cost average, an uptrend. So if it's 70% down, you buy a little bit, and if Bitcoin ends up coming down, maybe to that $51,000, $52,000, you buy a little bit more, right? And when Bitcoin recovers back up, then you are going to be automatically in a situation where you are in profit. Or if Bitcoin starts to pump from here, at least you didn't miss the pump either. So that's all for this update on Bitcoin. I'm going to see you in the next round of office.